A billionaire walked into a lobby. The receptionist told him to use the service entrance. What she didn't know, he owned the future, and she just erased hers. Like watching karma unfold, smash that like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories where justice is earned, not begged for. Let's begin. Xavier Cole stood outside Brightwell Enterprises studying the tower he was about to enter. No entourage, no announcement, just him dressed in casual luxury. The founder of a multi-billion-dollar tech empire walking into a company that begged for his partnership. Inside, the receptionist barely looked up. Blonde hair, designer blazer, and an ego sharpened by authority. Ashley Monroe glanced at Xavier's skin, his sweater, and made a snap judgment. "Deliveries in the back," she said, returning to her phone. Xavier smiled politely. "I have a meeting with Richard Lawson at 9 a.m. Ashley didn't budge. She fake-typed something, eyes rolling. "No appointment under that name. And Mr. Lawson doesn't meet with walk-ins. Try the alley." She waved him away. He remained still, voice calm. "I suggest you check again." Ashley scoffed. "Look, I don't care who you are, this is a professional environment." Then she pressed a button. "Security, we have an issue at the front desk." 2 guards arrived quickly, already tense. "Sir, we're going to need you to step outside. No questions, no confirmation, just compliance." Xavier stayed composed. "I suggest you verify who I am before you make a very expensive mistake." They didn't listen. They grabbed his arm. Firm. Unnecessary. The lobby watched, silent, curious, complicit. Among them, one young woman on the mezzanine tensed. Vanessa Lewis. She recognized him, but like too many times before, she said nothing. Mark Reynolds, Brightwell's executive VP, stepped off the elevator. He saw everything. He knew Xavier, and he turned his back. Let it happen. The man who could save their company was being shown the door, and Mark didn't lift a finger. Xavier didn't resist. He let them guide him outside, straightening his cuffs calmly. As the doors closed behind him, Ashley leaned over and muttered, "Next time, dress the part. This isn't a welfare office." He didn't flinch. He just walked. Minutes later, phones at Brightwell began to buzz. First, Richard Lawson got a call from his assistant. "Sir, I think something's wrong." By the time he saw the security footage, it was too late. The man they'd just ejected. He was Xavier Cole. The meeting they were prepping for, the one that could have saved Brightwell from collapse, just walked away. Without a word, without needing to shout. He'd already decided they weren't worth his technology or his time. Vanessa Lewis sat frozen at her desk. She'd watched the humiliation unfold, watched the silence, watched the power that Xavier held in restraint, and now she wondered, was this her moment to stay safe or finally speak? That night, news broke. Cole. Innovations terminated all partnership discussions with Brightwell, effective immediately. By morning, the company's stock began to bleed. Investors panicked. Clients hesitated. And Xavier hadn't said a word publicly. But he wasn't done. Over the next week, Cole Innovations announced a partnership with Brightwell's rival, their technology superior, their values clear. Xavier had moved on. Brightwell hadn't even caught its breath. Inside Brightwell, the scramble began. HR rushed to investigate. PR drafted apologies. Legal begged for a meeting. Ashley was called in. She arrived smug, left shaking. "We didn't know," she whispered. "You didn't care," Richard corrected. Mark Reynolds tried to spin it. It was a misunderstanding. But the emails said otherwise. Xavier had been on the schedule. Mark had seen the alert, ignored it, on purpose, because he'd been working with Brightwell's competition all along. Vanessa finally spoke up. She told HR everything. The bias, the sabotage, the way credit for her work had been stolen over and over. This wasn't about one receptionist. It was a culture. And Xavier's silence had exposed it all. Xavier gave no interviews, no press conferences, just one post. Respect isn't optional. The message was clear. His silence said more than Brightwell's entire crisis team ever could. By the end of the month, Brightwell's CEO had resigned. Their top clients had jumped ship. The company's value had plummeted, all because one man walked in the front door and was told he didn't belong. But he did belong. More than anyone in that building. Because while they saw a black man in a sweater, he saw a broken system and chose not to fix it. He chose to let it collapse. Brightwell's board met in emergency session. Faces pale, voices clipped. "We need damage control," someone said. "We need a miracle," another whispered. But there would be no miracle. Not when Xavier Cole had already walked away. Richard Lawson stood before his board, sweat pooling behind his collar. "We can apologize," he offered weakly. "We can show him we're serious." But it was too late. Apologies don't repair arrogance, not when the world had seen the footage. Online, the video had gone viral. Millions watched as a black billionaire was dismissed, manhandled, humiliated. Comments poured in. "This is why diversity training matters. He built the future and they showed him the back door." Ashley Monroe was placed on immediate leave. Her name trended for all the wrong reasons. Job offers vanished. Her landlord called. Her friends ghosted her. It was just a mistake, she sobbed. But some mistakes cost you everything. Mark Reynolds tried to lawyer up, but emails surfaced back-channel messages with Brightwell's competitors' efforts to sabotage the Cole deal. The board expelled him. Investors demanded legal action. Mark's empire was unraveling. Meanwhile, Xavier was already building. In a press release, Cole Innovations announced the Cole Center, a tech hub in the same city focused on ethical AI and minority-led startups. The location: just blocks from Brightwell's tower. Vanessa Lewis got the call she never expected. "We've followed your work. Mr. Cole wants to meet." She arrived nervous, unsure, but Xavier smiled and said, "You saw the truth, and that matters. We are building something better. Want in?" She said yes, not for revenge, but for rebirth. At Cole Innovations, her ideas were heard, funded, credited. For the first time in years, she worked without shrinking herself. As Brightwell collapsed, the world watched. Not just for the scandal, but for the blueprint. Xavier hadn't sued the company into ruin. He'd outclassed it. Quietly, thoroughly, permanently. Back in the Brightwell building, floors emptied. Partnerships ended. Vendors pulled out. The Brightwell name became synonymous with arrogance. No one wanted to be next. The cautionary tale was written in glass and steel. A year later, the tower that once housed Brightwell bore a new name, the Cole Center. Rebranded, reimagined. Its lobby now welcomed students, startups, and dreamers. No guards at the door, just open eyes and open minds. Vanessa led the education program. Every week she stood before rooms filled with young coders who looked like her and told them, "You belong here. No one gets to tell you otherwise." Ashley Monroe, now working night shift at a call center, saw the headline about the building's transformation. She stared at the screen, her name a ghost in the comments. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Mark Reynolds, disbarred and disgraced, tried consulting, but no one would return his calls. A LinkedIn post begging for opportunities went unanswered. His inbox filled only with silence. And Xavier. He never gloated. He never looked back. He simply built forward. Because some men don't chase revenge, they create legacy. And his was just beginning. In his new office, sunlight poured in. The same windows where Brightwell's board once ignored him. Now they overlooked a future that couldn't be denied. Xavier sipped his coffee, smiled, and whispered, "Let them underestimate me. I prefer it that way." The janitor, the receptionist, the security guards. None of them recognized him. That was the point. Because Xavier never needed a title to own a room. He only needed time. And when that time came, he didn't raise his voice. He raised the stakes. And everyone who tried to shut him out found the lights off when they came back.